Compliance 1010.
Compliance by Choice, hosted by Legasis-Beyond the Horizon. Media partner CNBC-TV18.
The 9th edition of the Compliance 1010. Compliance by Choice had lined up multiple tracks from industry leaders, global partners and market veterans who contributed through their experience across keynotes, masterclasses and leadership panel sessions. The day began with a leadership panel discussion on the topic Compliance 1010, moving from tick the box to sustainability.
Understanding the laws of the land and ensuring compliance. So just to answer your question, where are we? The large companies, of course, have processes put in place. Most of them have automated, but the smaller ones are now grappling with it. They're definitely moving up the ladder.
I don't think any company in the world today can claim that we are 100% ethically compliant. I'm talking about ethically compliant. Now, legally compliant, answer is yes. But ethically compliant, ethics is a journey. And in my view, each company across the globe, either you pick up the most regarded company, they will still say, if they are very mature, they will say we are in the journey of ethics and compliance.
Above and beyond, on these two aspects, ethical behavior and compliant attitude is something which is hard to achieve, tough to achieve, but if you as an organization show the inclination, you can do that.
Parallel to the track, the day also featured a panel on assurance. Audit days are over, moving towards 100% assurance.
100% assurance, as I said, is not, that's like something which is a very tall order, tall ask, I would say. But does the company have enough adequate, strong processes in place? Are we talking enough? Are we disclosing enough? I think that's something one would really look at.
The authenticity of the numbers and or the projected scenario in the company or the business has not been, let's say, reliable enough. And that has led to a complete breakdown of trust in the systems.
I think it's a joint program between the auditor and the management to get more and more in, automated controls so that you get this 100% assurance.
Now, this assurance has to be provided by all the stakeholders. Now, audit is positioned as the third line of defense. The first line itself is actually the management, operating management. The second line is the various functions like the grace, whatever, in that grace, A is sitting in front. A should be the end, last actually, So now ethics should be the first one.
And I would further advocate that they need to have time to reflect on the basic philosophy of the company, the way business is being conducted, so that they go beyond even auditing. Auditing means only vouching against the auditor, and give assurance to the management that everything is happening properly.
Those are the expectations have changed. That's why there is a new, as part of audit expectation gap, this evaluation gap also something need to be done to fulfill that.
The next two panels, running parallel, focused on moving governance from 5-star conferences to boardrooms and dynamic risks in the ever-changing world, moving from committee to culture.
The kind of distinction between value creation that we had 20 years to now values creation that is emphasized more and more.
So there were always three circles. There was the board, there was the ownership of the company, and there was management. And if you went back to most businesses, India sort of begin as family businesses and more entrepreneur-oriented businesses in that sense, and then become professionalized over a period of time from both ownership as well as board and then management structures. So I think in the evolution of this sort of three circles, I think the separation of this role is sort of evolutionary in that sense of the word, and not revolutionary.
As I said earlier, that laws have been there, it's only the implementation.
The importance of having a credible brand is that when you say something to the regulator or you say something to an enforcement agency, you don't have to explain it twice. because you know that what you're saying is backed by a halo of truth and honesty. And that, in my opinion, is the biggest goodwill which a company should be committed in building, starting from the board and percolating down to the management. Why can't we dream of becoming the highest valued company in the world? If India is on the cusp, what is it that we need to put in place to lead to that kind of a situation is this independence. Because then that's going to have the sovereign wealth funds, the large institutions wanting to invest in your company, which is going to add to the value of your company going forward.
I think risk as an animal today has taken a completely different proportion. Like, for example, on the regulatory side, when you look at product liability concept under the new Consumer Protection Act, you have to make sure that the product liability related risks are captured correctly, and therefore the supply chain related risks need to be looked at, because you're talking about product recall. There have been at least 2 cases when product recall has been questioned because it's a risk that is not kind of foreseen by the entities.
At the organizational level, if you are a manufacturing company with patents and IP, you will be targeted. Your bids will be read before you submit the bids, and somebody else will win the bid. So there's no end to this, because the whole Mayajal, or the story in Mahabharata of how everything was vulnerable in terms of how it could be infiltrated, and it appeared one thing and it was something else. That is all around us.
Technology can take you thus far and no further. It's ultimately the human engine that has to drive it, the human intent that has to drive it, and human commitment that has to drive it.
If we are able to, collate all the risk and see how these are interlinked, not in silo, that is where all the dynamic risk and what risk are emanating, will come into picture. And that's where we'll be able to do a justice that, we have, say, a number of risks. How will I prioritize it? I have so many tasks in hand. The management has so much to do because of regulatory work. So how do we prioritize the risk and gradually take it piece by piece, but don't lose our sight on the priority.
The most critical failure point which I have seen in the organization is when there is a violation to a policy, when it gets reported to the business, most of the time I don't see any action being taken on the violations.
Everyone thinks somebody ought to do it. Somebody ought to communicate it. Who's that person who communicated? Because thousands of people in a scaled organization are joining every month.
The final panel of the day focused on universal ethics, moving from talk to walk.
You can talk about ethics, but can you walk? It's a big question mark.
The 3 C's, communicate, communicate, communicate. You have to keep talking about the subject. None of us are so evolved that we are perfect human beings.
Every organization, you need to have very high standards. And we need to live on those standards. And that, to my mind, is the biggest challenge. Therefore, I said we can talk, but can I really walk ethics all the time?
The individual has to realize that he or she can make a difference. He or she can take a stand. If you are unwilling to take a stand when you are a management trainee, or maybe a junior person in an organization, it is impossible to say that 15 years later, 20 years later, when you'll actually be leading the organization, you would actually be in a position to take that stand.
Corporations have to play a very big role in ensuring society is sustainable.
Empathy plus action is compassion.
Can the E double up for ethics?
The day session came to end with the 40 Under 40 Awards, which was initiated 3 years back, recognizes young professionals showing utmost potential in the space of compliance. Compliance 1010.
Compliance by Choice, hosted by Legasis-Beyond the Horizon. Media partner CNBC-TV18.
Following the stellar panels in the morning session that saw industry veterans and market leaders share their valuable insights on compliance and sustainability, the evening session was kicked off with a welcome address from the founder and director of Legasis, Suhas Tuljapurkar.
Thank you very much for coming back here into this room post-COVID. Please give a round of applause to all those compliance professionals, all those governance professionals, and everybody who today has come back to see us in physical form, to deliberate on some of the critical issues on compliance. Wow, this is 9th year. And we have today crossed 350 today on year 9th, although we were very skeptical in terms of whether post-COVID there will be physical attendance or not. But thank you very much once again.
Following that was a special opening inspiration remarks by Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, sharing his insights on winning in a VUCA world.
Suhas, by you all in Legasis, becomes very important in terms of compliance, but I would say coupled with resilience. And you had a great objective of 10 upon 10. I would add a further 10 to it, and these are the 10 tenets of resilience. So it is not just enough to have 10 upon 10 in compliance, but also resilience, because the word is VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, and we have to not only survive, but succeed. Thank you very much.
After the inspiring open remarks, it was time for the first set of awards of the evening. The Excellent Performer Awards were presented by Dr. Rabindra Singhal and Ramesh Sharma.
Put your hands together for Harish Wani from Kirloskar Brothers Limited. There he is. A round of applause for Harish. The next awardee, ladies and gentlemen, is Shrikant Dada Kanwar from Cummins India Limited. Round of applause for Shrikant. The Excellent Performers Awards, the next winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Hemant Panchal from the Adani Group. Put your hands together for Bipul Vikas Singh from Tata Motors Insurance Broking and Advisory Services Limited. Round of applause for Bipul Vikas Singh. Next awardee, ladies and gentlemen, is Ishdeep Singh Gandhi from Niva Bupa Health Insurance. Round of applause for Ishdeep. So next awardee, ladies and gentlemen, is Dr. Aparna Fulambarkar from Volkswagen India. Round of applause for Dr. Aparna. The next awardee, ladies and gentlemen, is Mayank Srivastav from Tata Chemicals Limited. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the next set of awards. I'd like to invite on stage Suhas Tuzapurkar for this, along with Mr. Satish Marathe, Director RBI, to also join us on stage for the next set of awards.
Next up was the Compliance Team and Program Awards, recognizing the spirit of teamwork, demonstrating excellence in executing the compliance and ethics framework.
Put your hands together for the first winner, Apollo Tyres Limited. Next award goes to Colgate Palmolive India Limited. Round of applause for Colgate Palmolive. The next award, ladies and gentlemen, is the Compliance Program Award, was to recognize and acknowledge the design of the compliance program, which is based on the prescribed hallmarks. Put your hands together for the first winner, K. Raheja Kaur. The next award winner, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Blue Dart Express Limited. Mr. Faz, brother of Shabnam, to please come on stage for this special award.
The Shabnam Siddiqui Award is awarded to the woman leader who has upheld the highest ethical values in both social and corporate sectors.
I think this award, more than anything else, is a recognition that the interests of business cannot be divorced from what happens in society. For after all, business is a microcosm of the society in which we live. I am extremely grateful that an award such as this has been instituted, because very often we think of business as being divorced from the realities of what happens in our communities, in our families, and in our society.
Next up, Legasis honored Professor Richard Susskind with the Global Guru Legal Transformation Award.
And I say in conclusion to you the same thing about lawyers. The question isn't what's the future of lawyers. The question is how in the future will we be solving the problems to which lawyers are our current best answer? Because clients don't actually want lawyers. Clients want the outcomes we bring. And if we can build systems and deliver services that deliver these outcomes more conveniently, less costly, less unpleasantly, then the market will shift to these new ways of working.
Congratulations for that award and thank you very much, Richard. Pleasure talking to you.
I'd like to request Mr. Bhagwantrao More to please come on stage for this set of awards. He's the member of the Maharashtra State Human Rights Commission. Round of applause for Mr. Bhagwantrao More.
Up next was the Compliance Evangelist Awards that recognized department heads for evangelizing the message of compliance in their organization.
The first award goes to Shilpa Verma of Niva Bupa Health Insurance. And the next award goes to Ravindra Pethe from Tata Motors Limited.
The award session was followed by the chief guest address from the Honorable Director of RBI, Satish Marathe, as he shared his banking journey and his early days at the National Insurance Academy.
I had the opportunity to visit the National Insurance Academy, which was headed by Mr. V.C. Joshi as the first director. He was my zonal manager in Bank of India. And just when I was going to Pune, I dropped in on the way and met him. And he said, Satish, do you know what I have learned? All risks are not insurable. That is the first thing he told me. And as a banker, we have always known that we have to expect the unexpected. And the situation through which the countries across the world are moving today really is passing through that time. At such times, when resilience is very important, compliance is the first step that will make us resilient.
Next up was a product launch session from Legasis Stable, where board members launched RIIT, that stands for Related Party Interest Information and Transaction, followed by Saswat, an ESG solution system, and Akhat. And this year's theme was Next with Grace, Digital Transformation.
It is an innovative product that uses cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, OCR, which is optical character recognition, and APIs.
Saswat. Under this portfolio, we will be able to provide 4 solutions: BSR disclosure, integrated ESG solutions.
Up next was an interesting session with the Dean of Harvard Business School, Shrikant Datar, as he shared his insights on the VUCA world and how companies need to be more responsive in these changing times.
The VUCA world that you talk about causes us to focus on a few that might be even more timely and important in the world we are in today, and probably the world we will continue to see for some time. And in such a dynamic world, the key is for companies to be constantly responsive to rapidly changing circumstances. Things are changing fast, they're uncertain, as you said, it's ambiguous. So a company to succeed or an organization to succeed must be constantly responding to these changes. You have to be agile and alert and moving quickly. The analogy is make sure you have very good accelerators, but be careful how you choose what you want people to do, but also make sure that you have very powerful brakes.
Thank you very, very much for taking all this trouble to give this award to me. It's a great honor. I appreciate it deeply.
I'd like to invite on stage a guest of honor, Shri S.S. Mundra, Chairman and Public Interest Director, BSE Limited. Please give him a huge round of applause for this special award.
The session was followed by the Exemplary Contribution to Compliance Ecosystem Award that recognizes outstanding contribution in a specific field.
Give a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the winner, the ESG Risk Assessments and Insights Limited, Shankar Chakrabarti, Chairman, ESG Risk Assessments and Insights Limited of Acute Ratings and Research. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Shankar Chakrabarti.
The final award of the night, the grand finale, was the Crusader Award that acknowledges the iconic pioneer who carved a niche in setting benchmarks of compliance and accountability.
A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan for the Crusader Award. That is the final award, ladies and gentlemen. The Crusader Award on Compliance 1010, the grand finale.
With that, the day came to an end, and the 9th edition of the Compliance 1010 Compliance by Choice will be etched in the memory for years to come. Compliance 1010.
Compliance by Choice, hosted by Legasis-Beyond the Horizon. Media partner CNBC-TV18.